Hey, how's it going? Vince McShiesty here, patent troll lawyer. Looking to make a quick buck? Good, ain't we all? I got a foolproof way to make the money flow in your direction, know what I'm saying? What we do is simple. Even you could do it. You make a bunch of nebulous patents on the internet. Things like 3D multiplayer, or like my best client who patented the better mousetrap. Then, all you gotta do is sit back and wait for the folks who have real brains and intelligence, and they create it, and bam, we sue them for using your idea. Even though, it's vaguely close, maybe if it's something insubstantial, the vaguer, the unsubstantiatable is the better. I'm a lawyer. This is how these things work. Like, when I put a copyright on the lowercase g on a typewriter and suing anybody that used that in advertisements. Oh yeah, by the way, we do copyright things too. Same boat, different side of the ship. So, hey, you know what? Just, give me a call. Vince McShiesty. The one and only patent troll. And, by the way, don't repeat that. It's copywritten. If you do, I'll sue you.
This is Crashed While Loading, the fusion of entertainment and information.
Hello there.
Weekly updates and opinions on video games,
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
movies,
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
TV shows,
This is the way.
This is the way.
and so much more.
JJ, what do you want to do tonight?
Off. We need to go on a quick adventure. Oh, good introduction to the show. Take a sip right before you're supposed to talk and choke on it. Welcome. I am currently suffocating due to my own stupidity on the spittle and drink that I therefore mentioned that is my own fault for trying to wet my whistle. There we go. All right. Hey, anyway, welcome to Crash While Loading. I'm Ashton Phoenix. I'm the host. I'm the idiot that keeps, putting this out there for, myself mostly. Scribbles is another Ericus. There's a few of you out there. There's a few. You're the real MVPs. I don't know if you know this. Gotta shake that Italian. Gotta shake that Italian mob accent over there. It keeps trying to whistle its way into my actual accent, which is, not really the thing that I'm trying to do right now. So, welcome to Crash While Loading, only podcast powered by adult ADHD. And, to quote, your show is the best show no one is part of. Thanks, Scribbles. That was both meaningful and slightly hurtful, actually. As I stayed up all night, tossing and turning and trying to decide if it was a compliment or not. I lean towards a compliment just because it's my positive outlook on life, which is really why anybody would listen to this stupid show, is all the positivity, dick. Anyway, so if you want to listen to it live, twitch.tv/crashedwhile-loading. Yeah, subscribe, follow, whichever button it is. I never remember which one. I don't actually look at the front page of my channel that often because I don't watch while I'm doing it. It's streaming on this little programmy Streamlabs thingy majigger. I'm really good with the webs and the internet and whatnot. It's something I'm very familiar with. So, coming to you from AOL.com. But no, it's it was both a slow week in news and a busy one, thanks to Apple versus Epic Games. That pretty much dominated everything when it came to gaming this way. And hello, the Jazz, who is in the Conan of the Exiles, where she will stay because she is exiled. And, Conan's pretty ripped. I mean, I think there's worse places Jazz could be stuck at than, muscly guys everywhere. And gals. She doesn't discriminate. So anyway, hi Jess. Gaming wise too, we got Resident Evil: The Village. Played. I keep saying we. I'm the one playing it, but Sib is sitting next to me the entire time watching it. It's just, I don't know, for some reason it's just a thing we do. We played a lot of them together when they were co-ops, even though they're just not great Resident Evils. I think it was 5 and 6. 7, obviously, single player, you can't do that, which is better. And so she watched me play that because she wanted to watch me play that. And so now with 8, we're doing the same thing. We've gotten a good, I don't know, several hours into it. It have to be at like 3 or 4. I'm not going to spoil it. I will say it has a heck of a lot of fun. The story is, I mean, Resident Evil has, not only has it jumped off the rails, those rails took you over a shark tank, and that shark tank was on a moving platform in the ocean, surrounded by another tank of sharks, and then that floating tank of other sharks was on a liner, like a Carnival cruise liner, and that one was in a tank of squid. Not squid, what's the jellyfish, like the box ones, the really painful ones. It's just this plotted story are ridiculous, but they're so much fun. It's still good. It does have a lot of great jump scares and really creepy moments and a lot of Saw-like oh, that hurt kind of a thing going for it. It's been a lot of fun. I'll give a spoiler review when I finished the whole thing. I am going to predict, and I know this is going out on a limb, that in some way it ends with me firing a rocket launcher. I know it's out there for a Resident Evil game to probably bring in a rocket launcher at this point, but that is my big prediction, that the end will come in a rain of rocket-propelled grenades. So, but it's fantastic. It looks great on the Series X, and we got the 4K TV and the ray tracing and all that. Apparently, it's doing fairly well. I think it didn't break; it shattered, at least on Steam, the concurrent people playing that game at 101,000 people playing it all at the same time for a single player game. That's pretty darn good. I think the closest was like 60,000 for like one of the remakes, Resident Evil 2 remake or whatever it was that came out more recently. Given this is not a remake, this is the main story of Numbered, and I imagine the promoting of Lady Dimitrescu. It's, by the way, it's Dimitrescu as they say it in the actual game. It's not Dimitrescu as all of us non-French speaking plebes have been doing the entire time. Just enunciating every letter, even though it's clearly a kind of a French influenced name, but it's Dimitrescu. So we're all gonna have to. There's gonna be a lot of video updates. Oh, and thanks for following Mirage Leonardo 84. Appreciate that. That's what that giant ding was for anybody listening on the podcast. Was someone following on Twitch.tv/crashwhile-loading. But no, it's fantastic. It's definitely. It's definitely a next-gen game, and it looks like it. I know it plays really well, and it actually looks pretty good on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Through videos that I've seen, I'm not actually playing it, but the load times and stuff like that on the new consoles are fantastic, and that's really what sells it. So, looking forward. I'm going to keep playing that throughout the week. Typically, the problem with this, it's not even that I'm playing it well, Sib is able to sit there and watch it with me. The problem is we don't really want to play it if it's not dark out. It's just one of those games that you play in the dark. That's just how it is. Resident Evil games, all scary games, you have to play them in the dark. And yes, we have blackout curtains, and we can make our room very dark. Our theater room, it's the living room, but we've got blackout curtains, and it's in the theater style, so it's our theater room. It's the theater room. But it's best played at night. It just is. It's just the way that stuff works. So, but keep going that, banging away at Final Fantasy XIV. Just taking that slow. I'm not even role-playing or anything in that. I've thought of it, and I think of character stuff, and I'm like, I don't really feel like it right now. ESO is, they got an expansion coming around, and I'm not really feeling it, the Oblivion thing. We'll see. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I'll definitely play it, not just because I probably will, but also for the show and because I probably would anyway, even if I didn't have the show. Although, now that I think of it, I don't think I finished the last one with the vampires, so I should probably do that. Yeah, oh well. But anyway, moving on. That's what I've been doing. News-wise, I got some news. There's not much known about it, but it's exciting for me, being anybody that likes anime. And basically, if you like anime and you're my age, you were likely introduced it to Dragon Ball Z. Right. Except, to be fair, I actually found it on, of all things, the Blockbuster shelves in the way of Akira, Ghost in the Shell, which beautiful but bored the hell out of me as a kid. I appreciate it more now. I mean, I was just a teenager and I didn't know what the hell was going on. Akira, at least the original version, was also extremely confusing, but man, was that still so good. But yeah, so Dragon Ball is announcing a new movie. Akira Toriyama says, an all-new movie since Dragon Ball Super Broly is currently in the making. I don't know why he sounds like George Takei, but we're going to go with it. Just like other previous movies, I'm heavily leading the story and dialogue production for another amazing film. I really shouldn't talk too much about the plot yet, but be prepared for some extreme, entertaining bouts. It's Dragon Ball, I would hope so. No, actually, they just sit around and talk politics and philosophy all day. Vegeta really has some interesting things on Final Solutions. I mean, he has actually literally blown up planets, so that's not too far from the possibility. Which may feature an unexpected character. Bring someone back from Dragon Ball would be my guest. We'll be charting through the unexplored territory in terms of visual aesthetics that give the amazing rides, so blah, 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 blah. You look forward to the new movie. I'm cool with it. I mean, I'd like them to start Super up again. Apparently, I don't read the mangas, and they're going crazy and actually doing some really neat things. But I don't read mangas or comics right now because they're expensive to a ridiculous extent. Sorry, I'm chewing ice in the microphone, which is always a good idea to do. It's fantastic. People love hearing when they're eating. But nah, that's really cool. I'm glad they're going to do something. The movies are awesome. They look great. They play great. They are animated fantastically. So yeah, that's that. In other news, remember when we were just recently talking about a $10 million buyout from Microsoft to purchase Discord for the 10? They say million or billion? Billion. I think I said 10 billion. Well, we'll go with 10 billion because that's actually what it was. If I said million, I don't know. I can't go back and listen to myself right now. Apparently, Sony and Discord, after that breakup with Microsoft, Discord's rebounded heavy with Sony. They've been spotted on the playground, holding hands, making googly eyes in class, and passing notes back and forth. Do you like me? Circle yes or no, that kind of thing. And they're partnered up. It's not really known exactly what this is going to mean. I assume that it would just mean they're going to integrate into like the PlayStation Network, which is what other people also assume. Also, that's what PlayStation boss Jim Ryan. Our goal is to bring Discord and PlayStation experiences closer together on the console and mobile. On console and mobile, on mobile starting early next year. Allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, and communicate easily while playing games together. See, I think this is why Discord was like, I'm good. Thanks, Microsoft. But my guess is that this is going to just the Discord is just going to start integrating into all the platforms. Well, maybe not Switch. They don't even have Netflix still, which is actually what made one of the most popular uses of the Wii back in the day was actually to run Netflix, believe it or not. That and beat grandma at pretend bowling. But I think that's why they wanted to keep their independence and go there, because now they don't, if they get bought out by one company or another, they're stuck with that company. They can't branch out. And this way, Discord will be even bigger because, hooking up with Sony is a good idea. And then Even though, as we'll get to later, we know Sony has been drug kicking and screaming into the modern society because they were on top, which, by the way, Sony doesn't last forever. It's probably a good idea to play nice with your neighbors because one of these days they're going to grow up bigger than you and it's going to be reversed. So, good faith. But yeah, I would look for this to actually be announced eventually. Probably, I would say by the end of the year that Microsoft also has come to a deal to have Discord implemented and integrated in some way onto the Xbox systems. It's just a damn good program. I'm using this stupid thing now over there. I got, whenever we talk, as Jazz knows, Discord has replaced and basically they Netflixed versus Blockbuster the internet forums and what's that one? What was that one we used? Guild Launch and things like that were so big like 5 years ago, give or take. Seems like it was about that long. And now that with Discord, people don't use those forums. There's just there's no reason to. It's a really slow, sloppy way to communicate back and forth. Has it been 10 years since we started? No, we haven't been using Discord for 10 years, has it? Sweet Jesus, has it been? When did Discord start? Don't do that to me, Jazz. She just said 10 dear in the chat. Don't make me feel older than I already am. Oh, Guild Launch was 10. Yeah, Guild Launch. Well, I meant before we phased it out. Yeah, Guild Launch, and it was. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, Guild Launch was always terrible. All of those like gaming guild sites, they were all just awful. Really difficult to use in a lot of ways. I mean, they worked. They did what they functioned or what they were made to function for, but they didn't work like Discord does. Discord is smooth. I mean, we could do video chat. Engine was the other one. Yes. See, I knew there was another. And Engine was the same thing. It was the same thing, different model. It was just so not good. And then we have Discord, which is nice and clean. And you got little icons on the side. And you can actually video chat with people. And I imagine the pandemic had nothing to do with them exploding, just like Zoom had. They were going to be as big as they are regardless of the pandemic, no matter what. Because if there's one thing people love, it's Zoom meetings. Yeah, even in a pandemic, we can't get away from meetings. That should have been emails. And yeah, I think it's been about 4 years now, give or take. So, yeah, good for Discord. I'm happy for them. I think it's cool. Zoom is awful. Thankfully, I'm at a job where we still have meetings face to face. I mean, not face to face. We're in a giant room, and we're all it's the whole floor of a post office. There's really not it's not like we're all shoulder to shoulder in a tiny little cramped room like a lot of people used to do. Thank God. But hey, I can learn that we have 0.08% asbestos in the glue in the floor, and we have to have a safety talk for it every year at the post office because apparently it could really be bad for you if you got down there, pulled up a tile, and started licking the floor glue, because that's exactly the only way you would actually get exposed to the asbestos. And even then, you're not really breathing it in all that much, so much as licking it off the floor. Also, not something I would recommend. In actual happy news, positive. We'll go with positive. Positive news, because it's Corona related. So, hey, happy news. Hopefully you don't live in India, because it's really not good over there right now. I laugh out of nervousness because it's really bad. So, God bless you, people of India, whatever. Just get better and get over it. Not get over it. Not oh, hey, a lot of people are dying. Get over it. I mean, get over the hump and get better. That's what I mean. There we go. I'm not really good with sympathy. I don't really,
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah. But anyway, so positive. EVE Online, which is the weirdest ass game in MMOs, bar none. It's a second job. And people can go battle and blow tens of thousands of dollars in horrible ship battles and things like that, and it's always fascinating. So in this case, They took off about 330 years worth of research into how the immune system responds to COVID-19. They had 327,000 players completed a 1.37 million analysis tasks in game. So basically, it's something called Project Discovery, which they've used this before. Apparently, scientists, I say they, it's not like EVE Online is like, let's use our player base to figure out how to solve world problems. It does work like that, but there's a scientists come up with this thing. They've solved. It's for things that need human input. Like it has to be gone over. It can't just be correlated and done by a computer. For some reason, I don't try. I'm explaining this like the dumbass that I am. I've got a rudimentary understanding of how this thing actually worked. But they've done through I forget, they've like mapped genomes and things like that. How helping discover new planets was another one, and it's all sorts of stuff. But apparently this thing went in, and it was kind of like a quest in the game, that you would analyze this data, and you would do whatever it was that you did, and it basically shaved about 330 years worth of research off of what it would take to find out how the human immune system responds to COVID-19. Like I said, obviously it doesn't work the same for everybody, which is why they're trying to map it. COVID's, all diseases are weird depending on the person. I mean, like I say, the human body is garbage. It's a miracle of God. Yeah, well, he needs to put out a better... We've been trying to get hold of you to warn you about the extended warranty on the human body, God. It's garbage, and it falls apart easily. The slightest little bit, and the whole thing just collapses in on itself like a supernova. But yeah, it's really cool that something that Eve did made the news because it was positive and not, someone being swindled out of hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever it is that Eve is always in the news for. But so what it did, let's see. I'll give you what the smart guy. He's a University of British Columbia medical genetics professor and distinguished scientist of BC Cancer, British Columbia Cancer, Ryan Brinkman. Oh, he's British, so each dot is a cell. It is placed on a 2D graph based on how much it expresses one of many different types of cell surface proteins, which can be used to define the cell's function. So that's what they were doing. They were looking at it's just this weird blobby looking dot. Look, it's like made up of hundreds of thousands of dots. So like I said, there's a whole article on it. And most of it was so far over my head and I'm not totally stupid, like marginally. I'm publicly educated. Okay, so yeah, actually, I am actually stupid, and a lot of it was way over my head. I get the basics of it, but I just thought it was cool that a video game actually helped with the COVID thing. That doesn't happen very often. And now as we go into the lawyer-centric portion of this episode. Pardon me while I take a drink. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of law talk in a lot of ways. Like, I'm going to keep it. I'm not going... I will admit, I have not watched any of the Apple versus Epic Games court proceedings or anything like that. If you've watched any actual court stuff, it is boring as hell. It's not nearly as exciting as Perry Mason makes it out to be. Honestly, Perry Mason is he's a fucking rock star compared to how boring and dull actual law and court proceedings are. But so as we get into that, one was won by Activision Blizzard that I was not even aware itchy ear was going on. And that is after 9 years, Activision won a lawsuit against a company called Worlds Incorporated, who were claiming that they had patents that covered a, quote, system and method for enabling users to interact with a virtual space. Essentially claiming in their lawsuit that they had invented avatars, 3D multiplayer, and the ability to interact with other players in a 3D space. Sure you did, Sparkles. No, they did not. And I don't know why it took 9 years for a judge to be like, yeah, that's... the judge was like, yeah, your patents are abstract ideas and generic steps against their patents could not provide, quote, provide the inventive concept or convert the abstract idea into a patent-eligible process. Basically, I looked into this company. Basically, they sound like they're just what the commercial is based off, patent trolls. They make nebulous patents and put them out there, and then when somebody's smarter and better at that than they are, they go actually creates a thing and contributes to society in order to give that out in exchange for money and the goods and services that they provide. So this place, I guess they made a 3D multiplayer MMO, which is still online. It's called Worlds. I'm big in the MMO space. I have never heard of this dumb thing. It's still going on somehow. Their webpage for it looks like it was pulled. It came out in supposedly 95 is what I read. It seems a little weird. It looks like it, honestly, but the webpage it's like it's stuck in time. If you remember Geospace and when everyone's webpage had moving GIFs and you'd click on somebody and the music would blare out of your speakers because they had it set so it would automatically. It's basically that. It's just the late 1990s personified in a webpage. But they self-described leading intellectual property developer and licensee of patents. Jeez Louise, related to 3D online virtual worlds. And it took them all the way until 2012 to go after Activision Blizzard. Keep in mind, things like World of Warcraft have been around for a very long time. Other multiplayer, I don't know why they picked Activision Blizzard. Multiplayers have been around for over 20 years now. No idea. But yeah, they specifically cited World of Warcraft and Call of Duty as the main culprits and requested Activision Blizzard cease the infringement, presumably by shutting down the games. Yeah, good luck with that. And paying out the supposed patent violations. Like I said, they're patent trolls. And thankfully, they lost it. The sad thing is our court system is so fantastic, it took 3 years to be like, yeah, that's dumb. Get out of here. What are you doing in my court? Probably part of that is because, as we're learning with Apple versus Epic, is the legal system in pretty much every country. I'm going to bash on ours, America, because that's the legal system I know. I've seen legal system in other countries. They're even worse, at least in my opinion. A lot of them are just awful. But they all have one thing in common. They are all absolutely horrible at knowing what the fuck is going on with technology at the moment. And they are in no way, shape, or form prepared for any of it, especially this Apple and Epic one. They were not familiar with how tight-lipped and tight-fisted the development studios and the industry as a whole in gaming is with their information and what gets out there and what does not get out there. We've learned a lot, as we will now go over. Let's see, I think, what was that? Oh, yeah, that was the worlds.com was their 3D entertainment portal. It's so bad. It's just so bad. But anyway, so because of the Apple versus Epic thing, there's been a lot of leaks, like classified, business classified. It's not like government classified stuff. There's been nothing that groundbreaking so far, surprisingly. But if you're not familiar at this point with Apple versus Epic, Epic Games is the guys that did Fortnite. They tried to circumvent Apple's online shop on the phones and stuff like that by having people buy their Fortnite bucks or whatever it's called, I forget now, outside of the app, so they didn't have to pay the 30% fee. It was a planned thing they planned to do. And then, so Apple, in response, kicked Fortnite off, and they've been battling legally out since then. And honestly, I don't think Epic is going to win this one. It seems like a very distant concept that this is going to work out in their favor. Just because, I mean, Apple owns their store and they can do what they want. You don't have to use it, but you're getting a whole heck of a lot less now than you were before. So, but we'll see. It's But anyway, go on. That's what's going on with that, if you weren't familiar. So there's a whole bunch of things that came out. One of them was apparently they leaked internal documents from Epic that confirmed that they're doing a whole bunch of crossover stuff with skins in Fortnite. They're going to have Samus Aran, Naruto, LeBron James. I would assume that's probably what's that fucking Space Jam probably tie over that's coming up for the movie. The Rock, Katniss Everdeen, the bride from Kill Bill, John McClane, Snake Plissken, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande. One of those two is talented. I'll give you a hint. It's the one that has Lady in her name. She's actually talented. I don't like all of her music, but at least she's not Ariana Grande, who is just flat garbage. And that's not my opinion. That's everyone's opinion. Even people that listen to her. They do it. You know why they do it? They don't know better. They just don't know better. They've never heard actual music. It's just on the radio. That's how that works. Yep. Yeah.
Inconceivable!
Probably. So anyway, so they've put out all those skins. They've shown that, and Fortnite's been arguing, or Epic Games has been arguing that Fortnite is is going to be like the oasis of cross-cultural gaming and all that stuff, like from Ready Player One, which no, it's not, because they're saying they're claiming that they're more than a game, because they've had concerts inside there because of all the crossovers they have. Which is all ridiculous. Maybe one day we'll get an oasis, but it's not going to come from a game like Fortnite, where that's just not going to happen. That stupid Dream Worlds that I was talking about a couple episodes back is probably closer to doing something like that, and that's complete bullshit. So, like I said, that's getting everybody to do all that stuff like they did in Ready Player One. It's a fantasy. There's a reason it's a book. I mean, even the movie did amazing, getting all that stuff, a lot of that stuff in there. But even still, they can't get it all because those companies and studios own the rights to their intellectual property, and they did not want it in there, so it did not go in there. You can do that in a book because you can write about whatever you want. It doesn't matter, especially when it's fictional. It's cool. You can blend all that stuff together. At least in reference. It's not like you can write a book on a sequel to Star Wars and be like, yep, that's mine, I did that. You know what I mean, though. But if Star Wars wanted to reference Back to the Future, it could do that. It absolutely could do that. And that would probably be a terrible book for Star Wars, because they shouldn't reference Back to the Future, but they can. So the other thing is that Fortnite made $9 billion with a B dollars in 2 years, from the beginning of 2018 to the end of 2019, which is why Epic is doing the things that Epic does, which is buy up everything, which is another thing that was leaked, how much they spend on those free games they give away. It's a lot, but it's also not a lot for them, and given what they get in return. So, but we'll go over that here in a minute. Let's see. The Epic Game Store is still far from profitable, which is what I was just saying. There was this funny little bit back in 2015 when Epic Games they were just still, I don't think Fortnite had even been out yet. It wasn't even released. So Tim Sweeney, which is the Epic CEO, to Tim Cook, which is the Apple CEO, sent him a thing saying that he should consider, quote, separating iOS app store curation from compliance review and app distribution. In retrospect, it was a prelude to the issues with Epic and Apple coming together. But the response from the Apple guy, Tim Cook, was like, was along the questions of, is this the guy that was in one of our rehearsals? He had no idea who he was. He's like, why are you even talking to me? What are you even doing here? Go away. He thought he was just some dude that, was from something else, which is great. Let's see, what else has come out? This one was really bad. I played The Division 2 and The Division, but Epic had to apologize to Ubisoft for the fraud. So, just reading here on this article, it says, in 2019, Epic's upgraded the Epic Store security system with long overdue verification options. While such security upgrades were inevitable, it seems that their release at that time may have been partially prompted by the fact that some of the games on the Epic Store were suffering from significant number of fraudulent transactions. That's why I'm reading this verbatim here. It's only 2 paragraphs, but no game was quite as hard as fraudulent transactions as The Division 2. At one point, it seems over 70% of Division 2 purchases on the Epic Store were made with stolen credit cards and other compromised information. It was the level of fraud that prompted Tim Sweeney to send an email to Apple CEO Yes Guillemot. Ves. I'm going to say the Y is silent. Ves Guillemot, in which he explained just how unusual that figure was and stated the fault in the situation is entirely Epic's. So yeah, apparently Epic's security had gotten so bad during that period. 70% of the purchases done with like stolen credit cards and bad stuff like that. That's insane. That's a lot of bad juju. And going back to, was it Tim? I keep getting Tim Sweeney and Tim Cook. Okay. This one was weird, but aside, apparently Tim Sweeney doesn't own a PS5. Get in line, buddy. Tim Sweeney was asked to identify the next-gen consoles, and most interesting next-gen revelation to come from the early days of the trial was that Tim Sweeney apparently doesn't have a PS5 at home. He said he does have one at the office, which is fine, but it's clear that if he had a personal model working, I don't know what, actually, I take that back. That one's not funny at all. That's just stupid. Who gives a shit if the guy has one at home? They've clearly made the game for the PS5. They've got a dev kit. Of course, somebody like that has got their hands on a PS5 at the office if they want one. Someone like him probably could have contacted Sony directly and been like, hey, guys, we need one. It's for research purposes. Let's see. What do you want? My dog's here. Or Cloud's here. What are you doing, Cloud? Good girl. Yes. So let's see. Epic asked Xbox to enable free multiplayer ahead of its trial. Not a big surprise. PlayStation can charge Epic for cross-play platform. So apparently, we all know PlayStation went to cross-play kicking and screaming. Fortnite and what was the other little one with the cars? Oh, crap. The car soccer game. Wow, I am drawing it. I can literally see the art in my mind's eye, and I cannot think. So car soccer. All wanted the cross-platform thing. So apparently they finally got it, but PlayStation. It was revealed that Epic's documents seem to reveal that Fortnite Studio have to pay the PlayStation team extra royalties for the crossplay. I mean, you got what you wanted, but did you though? Did you? Yeah, you did, because you're still making a ton of money. That was another thing that came out, that the PlayStation 4 was responsible for more Fortnite revenue than any other platform, which that's saying something, given it's out on Xbox, PC, mobile devices, things like that. So, in fact, it was PS4 accounted for 46.8% of Fortnite revenue, compared to 27.5% of Xbox, 9.6% on PC, and 7% on iOS, which, obviously before it got delisted. It's strange, too, that they're going after all of this when only 7%, if that number is right, only 7% before it was taken down are on Apple phones. Why are they really going after this? For some reason in my head, it was more like a 50% split with iPhones, and then everything else was the other 50%. But no, it's only 7% according to this. That is so weird that they're even bothering with this. And lastly, well, not lastly, but another thing that was just weird, that in one of the documents, it turned out that Walmart was wanting to start, or they may still want to start, a cloud gaming service, like the Microsoft's xCloud and stuff, which I'm hearing really good things about. Ironically, another thing that is working around Apple, the xCloud actually announced for a browser version that you can use. It's on beta right now. People are getting invited, as just randomly, as long as you have a Game Pass account. Anyway, so anyway, Microsoft didn't want to pay Apple's fee, or Apple wasn't going to put xCloud on the App Store. I can't remember which one it was now. Probably both. So Microsoft found a workaround through the web browser, and apparently it works really damn well. You just put a Bluetooth microphone up, or Bluetooth controller to your iPhone, and you're streaming like really good games like MLB The Show 21 on your iPhone, which is cool. I mean, we've had that on us Android users have had that for quite some time, and we don't have to go the workaround route because honestly, I'm just not a fan of Apple's ecosphere and products, but that's me. I know a lot of people like them, and it's fine. I just don't like having to jump through hoops to get my phone and my technology to do what I want it to do. So, apparently Walmart wants to start their own cloud gaming service, which worked really well for Google Stadia. Looking at you, which is still a dumb name for anything ever. But, so they want to do that. Like I said, there's a ton. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm rambling through this. I am, because there is just a ton of info. But one that was really interesting, and I'll see if I have to actually get closer. No matter what I do to this document, I can't make it bigger. So and as soon as I say that, I made it bigger. That friggin' figures. Anyway, so another thing that came out was a list of, it was a really detailed list of what Epic Games paid, I can move that closer now, to get those free games that they give away. If you're on Epic Games like I am, every month there's just games that you can just download and have, or in my case, claim and then never play because I'm awful. But it worked. So what this is how much they paid the developer that made the game when it happened. Entitlements was how many people downloaded it, and then the estimated, well, it's actually not an estimate, it's down to like the single digits of new Epic accounts created at that time because of that. So the very first one, all the way back in December 14th of 2018, was Subnautica, which was, I think, a 3-year-old game by then. But they paid and I've never played it, I've heard good things, but they paid $1.4 million so that they could give that game away for free. And it was downloaded 4.6 million times and had 804,000 new accounts created. So that cost them per Epic account, cost about $1.75 a person to log in. And of course, the whole point of things like that is once you've signed up, you may keep checking back. It's like Steam. Then there's definitely, I know there's a lot of people that are really pissed off. I mean, although Subnautica is not exactly AAA, studio stuff. I don't think it's Unknown Worlds is the seller, but a lot of these indie games go for under $100,000, and they give away millions of copies. Let's see, one of them was Super Meat Boy, was $50,000 they paid to give that game away 1.7 million times. It was like 52 cents it cost them per new account. What's the lowest new account? I think that actually... Oh, no, I guess that would be Metro 2030 Redux, which was they paid $0 and gave away 4.5 million copies of that. So that was a cost of 0 cents for every new account, which was 169,000, which is crazy because that was more recently. That was September 2019. But then there's things like For Honor. They got $63,000, and it was 3 million downloads. And like I was saying, people are like, man, they're just Epic Games is really screwing over these indie developers. They're just not paying them as much. I don't know if you know how business works, but when Epic Games comes to you and says, hey, Night School, we want to give you $200,000 for Oxenfree, and and we'll end up 2.3 million downloads of it, of how much, meaning people actually played it, we don't know. Oxenfree people can say, yeah, go pound sand. We don't want your money, or we want more. And maybe that's what they did. Maybe they negotiated up. Epic is going to always try to pay as little as possible, and the other people are always going to negotiate to get as much as they think can be done. And if they don't come to an agreement in a contract, that doesn't happen. So they're not screwing these indie devs over. They don't have to do this. A lot of these, some of these games I've never heard of, but things like For Honor, which was Ubisoft, not exactly indie, which is even crazier that one was only $63,000, because that's Ubisoft. You think they'd be like, no. Things like Inside got $800,000, and by the way, that was a steal, because Inside was a fantastic game, but they gave that away. There was 2.7 million downloads, and that cost them $11 per new account. But it just depends on the game. Some of these, like Overcooked, were 225,000. And others, like there was one here called Last Day of June. I don't remember that one. Moonlighter. I don't remember that one. This War of Mine. This little war of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Sorry. Enter the Gungeon, which that one I have heard. That one actually got, and that one's an indie, kind of developer thing, if I remember right. And that's 700,000. So I'm just spouting off numbers here. But the biggest one that I think I saw was Batman Arkham. It just says Batman Arkham. I assume that's got to be the first one. They paid $1.5 million for that, and that was downloaded over. I think that's the biggest download at about just under 6.5 million downloads. And 613,000 new things. So what I'm getting at is they definitely didn't want this out. This is because now this list here, this list of it at the end total, it was cost them $11.6 billion. Wait, no, million. 11. Okay, yeah, there we go. $11.6 million. Like I said, the teeny tiny numbers in writing. It was $11.6 million for 104 million downloads and nearly 5 million new Epic Game Store accounts, which is what they're after. It's like when Netflix started. Not the digital part, not the shipping out CDs and DVDs and stuff like that at the beginning, or DVDs and Blu-rays. Never watched CDs. They're just trying to get people in the door. You have to build up to become profitable. You have to get to a certain peak. It's what Microsoft is doing with Game Pass. There is a point at which you peak and it just becomes very profitable very quickly. Before that, you got to suffer. And right now, I think Epic Games is probably in its suffering phase, and they're trying to get those numbers up, which means it's that spend money to make money kind of a thing. But that one was the biggest one. And the reason this is going to hurt them probably in the long run now is because anybody they go to for these free games now have a list of what other people were paid. It's like, I mean, given if you ever have an employer that tells you not to talk about what other people are paid, that's going to be a really bad place to work. But when it comes to deals like this, the guy you're trying to give money to, or give a product for your money, knowing what other people have gotten is going to hurt your bottom line. It's going to put you at a weak negotiating standpoint because you can't say like, well, Steve was only going to do it or Ubisoft only wanted 68,000 kind of a thing. Because now you can also see that, Warner Brothers got 1.5 million for a game that had been out for, I don't even know how long, at 10 years at that point, 8 years, something like that. So it puts it at a big disadvantage, and kind of sucks for them, but at the same time, probably should have been a lot more careful with the way these things were going. And you did kind of start all this. So, don't have too much sympathy. Let's see, there's a day-by-day thing breakdown here. Epic didn't pay Apple marketing for support for Fortnite. Epic took issues. There's just so much. There's a weird one where Epic's attempt to get xCloud on the App Store got a competitor called Shadow booted off the marketplace for a time. They're back now, but it's weird it was just like an unintentional byproduct of trying to get the Shadow apparently is a streaming kind of a service app, Netflix kind of in games and things like that. So it got kicked off because of that, which it's just the pettiness. I think the biggest thing that comes out of this is the pettiness of a lot of these companies when it comes to dealing in between each other. We all know that the gaming industry as a whole is incredibly secretive. I mean, even for all the leaks and stuff, like what was it? Battlefield. I always get Battlefield and Battlefront mixed up. Battlefield 6 is about to be announced, but there were leaks ahead of it. It shows it's going to be more of a contemporary, current or near current setting or near future setting, it seems like, which is cool. You can only do World War I and World War II so many times. But the game industry it's filled with secrets. And even, like I was saying, even with all the leaks that happen, there is a lot that we don't know behind the scenes. The marketing, the market research, the developments, the development costs, what it costs to get it out there, there's just so much that goes into making anything on a scale like this. It is absolutely insane. And with that comes secrets and corporate secrets and things like that. And for that to be kind of exposed is not really... Oops. That's my I have to eat soon thing. Sorry about that. Or am I? But, so it's just, like I said, it was kind of a grab bag of stuff this week. What was the other thing I had here? I forget. Oh, this one actually makes me happy. There's one more lawyer thing, and I don't think... Did I not? There it goes. Because it involves Tencent, which is the Chinese firm that is... just awful. But apparently they are negotiating with the comorbidity of foreign investment in the United States to be able to keep their stakes in Riot and Epic Games. Tencent owns Riot Games flat out. They now own that entire company, and they have a 40% share in Epic Games, which is not great. But because of, for those of you that are not familiar, the Communist Party of China has a thing where if they ask for a thing from a company like Tencent, they have to give it over. And so apparently this was started under Trump, but it looks like the Biden administration is actually continuing with it. Otherwise, it would have gone. If they weren't, they wouldn't be coming out right now. That the government is worried about Tencent, just giving people's information over to the Communist Party of China, which it should be because Tencent has actually known that. Another thing I've learned is that a lot of these companies like Tencent, even small ones, anything that's international like that, they actually have, even if it's just a broom closet, which I seriously doubt Tencent has, they have a member of the Communist Party of China in the building to help keep track of these things. They're basically, they're from the government and they're here to help kind of a guy. Communism, not great, no matter where you're at. If I instantly want to be kicked off of China, Winnie the Pooh. Taiwan. Those are a few words you can get. Oh, by the way, yeah, try that with any gold farmers in games. Supposedly, the restrictions in China are so tight. If they're actually coming out of there and that gets flagged, the system will kick them off the internet almost instantly. That's what the story I've heard. I don't know if it actually works. But, yeah, so the government's looking into the negotiating risk mitigation measures with Tencent about not giving over, anybody that signs up for one of their games like Riot, which is a very popular, has a lot of popular games and stuff. So I'm not a big fan of government intervention on almost anything except for when it is to make the people of under that government umbrella safer. And I don't mean in a, I won't get started on politics, but, I don't mean in I'm from the government, I'm here to help kind of a way, like from foreign issues. My dog Spanky is snoring like a chainsaw. So it's, as much as I hate them to get involved, this is exactly what they're supposed to do. This is the point of all of that, is to try to make sure people's information doesn't get handed over and personal data is protected and all that sort of stuff. It's surprising that something is actually working as it's supposed to. Of course, that doesn't mean anything. They probably will be like, oh, yeah, no, we talked to them and they're doing everything just fine. There's no way any of that information is going to be leaked to the Chinese government, which is probably going to actually happen, in which case this was just a farce and they were just trying to make it look like they were actually doing something and being concerned. Kind of like, I don't know, us or fixing our power grid against an EMP pulse. We can do that. I think it's a cost of maybe 10. Keep in mind, lately we've been spending bills in the trillions, which we can't afford. But I think it was somewhere in the 10 billion, tens of billions to actually fortify our entire infrastructure or at least the majority of it against EMP attacks, which if you don't know what an EMP is, you don't watch a lot of sci-fi. And basically a nuke could go off in the upper atmosphere. It creates a chain reaction and fries everything with a circuit or even wires. There's actually, I'm going to say it was 1918 because that's the thing that's coming out in my, or was it the late 1800s? It was whenever next to the trains that were going cross-continental or being worked on, the Morse code thing, it was just basically a wire. It was exposed. It wasn't covered in plastics, which didn't really exist at the time. But there was a solar flare that hurt Earth so hard that wire for hundreds of miles just went up. Just kind of, it shorted out because of the electric current in it, and it just destroyed it. That's basically what an EMP is. But, we can protect against that, but no, let's spend another, let's save the cave-dwelling Priute trout. I'm starting to get tired. I have another thing to do later today. That's going to go well. So anyway, hopefully they actually do put a stop. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that would do to Riot Games if its main stockholder and owner now had to, what do they call that? Divest? Is that it? Was that? It is lovely some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Yeah, I think it's called divesting. I can't find the word here. So, yeah, divest. There it is. It's right at the top. It's in the friggin' headline, you idiot. So, yeah, I don't know what that would do to Riot or Epic if they lost a 40% share. I assume there'd be plenty of people willing to buy that up, depending. Of course, that also now depends on how this thing with Apple goes. But yeah, there you go. There's the news of the week as I've kind of seen it. Like I said, I wish I had more interesting stuff this week. I probably didn't have to ramble on for half an hour about this stuff going on with Epic, but it's interesting, and it was a neat peek behind the curtain. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be worse. It could be at work right now, like some of you are, and I'm not, but you are. That makes me better. So anyway, all right, let's get this thing off the air before anybody else comes accidentally into it. I apologize on behalf of me for that you had to listen to any and all of that. For those of you that did tune in live, you're the best. You're not only good looking, you probably have giant wallets. I'm kidding, we're gamers. We're spending all our money on everything else. But anyway, appreciate you listening. Remember, if you want to listen live because you're listening on the podcast, twitch.tv/CrashedWhileLoading, click the About button and follow on Discord, which would be awesome. If you're listening it live and you've missed episodes, it's on YouTube. Given the first little bit, actually, I'm not going to because of having to restart the stream, I'm going to have to go in there and delete part of that first bit, now that I think of it. But yeah, it's on there. It's on every place, anywhere you download a podcast, it's there. I'm everywhere, and yet, as Scribbled says, your show is the best show no one is part of. So, try to be part of it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your dog. I really don't care. I am very dog-friendly. It is a dog-centric show. I have one sleeping right here at my feet because she is, I don't know, really needy. You're needy. Yeah, anyway, she's looking at me now. Nope, now I did it. Now she wants bed. There we go. All right, anyway, I'm Ashley Phoenix. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/Husky by the Geek to hear all his latest video game rock covers and original music. And no, I wasn't picking my nose instead. I'm scratching the outside of it. Camera. It itches. Allergies are terrible. Get off my show.